In this episode, we are going to dive into the realities of being a stay-at-home mom who also is trying to juggle some kind of part-time business. We're going to explore the complex, essentially love-hate relationships that many moms are experiencing as they're living that type of lifestyle. From the overwhelming moments to the honestly profound joys we have as a mom. Discussing relatable bits, sharing some research insights, as well as providing some practical tips that can help you mentally break this down a little bit better so that you can navigate it more easily on the day-to-day. Hi, I'm Jenna Dix, and I'm always rambling. Just ask my husband. I have a great family and a pretty cool life, but I'm a recovered alcoholic. That's hard to say, but my goal is to inspire and educate to help others hopefully find life beyond an addiction. I'm all things: sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Getting healthy, momming, and politics. Get offended easily? You better stop listening. There is no point in wasting that Botox by stressing yourself out listening to a podcast. Welcome to Ramblings of an Addict with Jenna Dix. Today's episode brought to you by products and services I'm thoroughly addicted to. Are you ready to transform your outdoor space into a stunning oasis? Look no further than Green Oasis, your premier lawn and landscape experts serving both Minnesota and Wisconsin. At Green Oasis, they specialize in creating breathtaking landscapes that will leave you in awe. From lush green lawns to exquisite garden designs, their team of skilled professionals is dedicated to bringing your vision to life. Their attention to detail and commitment to quality ensures that every project they undertake will exceed your expectations. But they're not just limited to landscaping. Their expertise extends to building beautiful decks that will become the envy of your neighborhood. Whether you're envisioning a cozy retreat for intimate gatherings or a spacious outdoor entertainment area, their talented craftsmen will bring your dream deck to reality. What sets them apart at Green Oasis is not only their exceptional quality of work, but also the friendliness and helpfulness of their dedicated team. Green Oasis, where your dream landscape becomes a reality. So, if you are ready to experience the Green Oasis difference, contact them today for a consultation. Their details are below in the show notes. Welcome to today's podcast. Super excited to have you here as always. Right off the bat, we're going to remind you, make sure that if you have yet to follow this podcast, get that done right away. You can do that, honestly, while you're still in the app. You don't even need to stop playing this podcast, but just make sure you have subscribed or followed so that way all the episodes automatically will download. All right, today, this is one that has been on my heart a lot this past year. And there's moments that I feel like a complete hot mess mom. And then there's other moments I feel like, wow, I'm just the crankiest, crabbiest, meanest mom. And other moments I'm feeling like, whew, I am A+ mom. All the while, my different, tidbits of work that I've had, sliding in and out, trying to pop in there in different ways, feeling all the feels with that at the same dang time. And I know I'm not alone. Today, like I said, we're going to be talking about some statistics as well that relate to stay-at-home moms, moms at work, things of that sort. And I can tell you this, I am far from alone in saying I'm a mom that, I am more a stay-at-home type mom, but I still work. I still bring in income to the house as well. So today's episode is one that I think, oh my goodness, I would guess not too far ago in history, just a recent handful of years probably, not as many moms could do this. I'm kind of a stay-at-home mom, but I still work. not as common because a lot of the work that we do as moms now happen at home. Whether it's you're doing some type of remote work or you're doing, a multi-level marketing type of position, it just doesn't happen, or it didn't rather happen as much back then because there weren't as many options. Technology has given us more options. So today's episode definitely is going to be one that is more relatable for many more moms, I think, right now in this time period. And with that being said, though, that means we're running into a lot of new obstacles, a lot of new hiccups that moms of the past didn't experience to the levels that we are experiencing. So I'm going to jump right in. I'm going to kick it off by saying, okay, me personally, and I'm willing to put money down on this fact that you as a mom also can agree, right? As a mom, I truly feel completely blessed. I also feel completely blessed that, I have the ability to say I am a stay-at-home mom. I get to spend time with my girls during the day. On the flip side, I am also completely blessed that I do have the ability and I have the skills to be able to do some types, right, of work and to be able to bring in some income for my family. All of those things are great, great things. But now, there's days, let's get real, right? Doing it all, some days I swear to goodness, I'm going to wind up in the loony bin because of all those great blessings that I have in my life. When they all pour in at the same darn time, there's moments that I'm like, wow, I'm just really chill. Life at this moment is very peaceful. And then there's other moments I'm like, oh my goodness, if one more thing falls on my plate, I swear all of my hair is instantly going to turn gray, right? So today we're going to talk about all those feels. Like I said, some of the stats. We're going to talk, of course, because it wouldn't be a Ramblings of an Addict podcast if we didn't have some tips as well. Some tips on how to try to navigate this type of lifestyle that a lot of moms are living. So we're going to jump right in. Let's, hit the feels right from the get-go. So a lot of moms are saying, and I 1,000% agree, that it truly is more of a love-hate type of dynamic with this lifestyle. And there's no shame in the fact that we say that. It's not that we hate being a stay-at-home mom or we hate having to work. It's just sometimes that balance itself is truly a love-hate. And I want to say, make sure that we all are understanding, okay, yes, we need to essentially embrace that there is going to be some conflicting emotions that we have as we're trying to do this balancing act of motherhood, stay-at-home motherhood especially, and, the work from home responsibilities. And I think a lot of these tips today can pertain to people who also do, I'm a stay-at-home mom, but I work a few hours outside the home. A lot of these tips probably are going to pertain to that as well. I just have really customized a lot of these because I work from home for the most part. So technically, I can be doing things like that, working and being with the girls simultaneously. Because, hello, I'm a female. We can multitask, right? We'll get there in a minute. But I think no matter, if you are the type of person that you're saying, I'm a stay-at-home mom, but you are working, whether it's at home or out of the home, you need to embrace the fact that some of the emotions we have are going to conflict. Meaning, how the hell do I hate this right now? But yet yesterday I was like, my life is amazing. This is awesome. I get the best, the best of both worlds. Okay, yeah, there's going to be moments that you're like, okay, I'm not bipolar, I swear. No, the emotions themselves will contradict themselves. So I think part of the issue is we need to understand that society and the expectations that society as a whole has as a whole, and then that we have as individuals, the pressures that come with that, they are contributing to that conflicting emotional battle. The pressure is what essentially I feel, this is my opinion, but I feel it's the pressures that literally make the balance even harder. Because I feel like, at least, I'm speaking for myself at this moment, but I think more than likely, I'm going to put money down on it again. Ooh, I'm doing a lot of betting today. I don't know what my deal is, but if I'm feeling these pressures on the regular, and when I'm saying on the regular, this is like a multiple times a week type of deal, okay? I guarantee you other moms are feeling this. So there's a lot of times that I'm like, I really should be working more like full time. 1, because I have the education to do it. 2, I've done it before. 3, it's not that I hated it, right? 4, let's face the facts. We're in Biden economy times right now, and times are tough for a lot of people. And yeah, our girls are eating and we have a roof over our head, and it's not that we're, not being able to afford what we need, but it would be nice to have some extra cash. And I remember when I was working full time, we did have a lot more extra cash than we have sometimes now. And there's moments that I'm like, do I just go back to a full-time job? The second kind of expectation, you flip that over. Well, I'm a mom. I made that decision. No, you should be at home with your kids, right? I'm not of the mindset, okay, yeah, Jenna, wait, you're a Republican, right? Yeah, I am. But I'm far from the mindset of mom should be in the kitchen barefoot, right? That's not where I land either. But I am of the belief that I want to raise my children. And there is nothing wrong. Like, if there's a mom out there that's like, she's got her full-time career, rocking the power suit, like she's got her briefcase. Does anyone even carry those anymore? But you know what I mean, right? That vision. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, I give moms that do that too props. To each their own. Everybody finds their thing. I just knew from a young age, because I used to nanny. I nannied for other people's children throughout college. And I remember being like, and I gave props to all the moms. Like, I worked for families that the moms did really cool things. And a lot of them I still talk to. But I knew from a young age that I want to at least raise my kids up, especially when they are younger. And now having one younger and older, like even with the older one, it's cool that, no, I get to still be with her during the day. Especially now this next year, we now have the opportunity where we can essentially homeschool for her high school. So it just, to me, it's a society pressure thing, but then there's some internal pressure. So you have that battle just there in itself, right? The conflicting feels of, you should go to work. No, you should be at home with your kids. That's your job. And then, okay, you're going to embrace it. I'm going to be at home more with my kids. I'm going to be that stay-at-home mom type. Well, crap. Susie Smith's over there. She does amazing things with her kids. Look at her Instagram. Look at all the cool projects they do. Look at all the cool, quote-unquote, field trips they go on. Or look at, Jamie Jims. Like, she does, amazing things with her kids. She goes on play dates all the time. They, do all these awesome things. So it's this thing of, I don't do enough with my kids as a stay-at-home mom. And then if you do get to that point where you're like, okay, I'm going to kind of try to combine the best of both worlds. I need to make a little income / I like to make a little income. I like to do a little work. It gives me extra purpose, but I still want to be raising up my kids myself. Then you have that feeling of, okay, essentially I'm not doing enough of either. I'm kind of stuck in limbo. I'm half-assing essentially both. Right? And I remember I had a boss one time that was like, full ass one thing, don't half-ass anything. And I loved that. Like, I fell in love with that quote. And at work, it made sense. Here, I'm like, you know what? I think a little bit in both areas for me right now is okay. And I know I can't, as she said in her quote, right? I can't full ass anything, but I'm okay with that. I'm giving my girls a lot of attention as much as I can. There's days that, they watch too much screen time or they don't get as much mom focus as I wish they did, but they're still at home. My husband pops in as much as he can. Having an older daughter, it's nice too, because she's actually able to help with the little one a little bit here and there as well. So it's just, like I said, that conflicting emotion because the balance just never feels quite right. But I don't know if it ever will. I don't think so, right? Life is not perfect. I think in addition to all that, and kind of adding on to that society pressure piece, is because we are at home, people just expect that we, even if you're not quote unquote at home, right? Like I know most moms, we do things with our kids. I take them to the park. I take them to the library. We go do things, but we're quote unquote at home. That's what people envision. And because that, it's just this feeling of I should be able to do so much. I should be able to be with my kids. I should be able to get the house cleaned. I should be able to do the laundry. I should be able to cook all the meals. I should be able, I'm at home. I should be able to complete a task at the drop of a hat. I should be able to do a lot of projects throughout the day. Like it just feels like, holy moly, it's a lot, right? It essentially gets us to a point where we just never feel good enough. It feels like because, right, we're half-assing everything, we feel like we're failing at it all. And if you are a person that you're like, that's not how I feel at all, awesome. You have really trained your inner critic well. And I give you props because I've been working on my little inner critic for a long time. And she still rears her little ugly head quite frequently, okay? Because we just feel like, for those of us who are on that point where we're like, that little inner critic, she's still got a temper or she's still got an attitude. I just can't train her as well as I want to, right? We feel like we want to be excelling at both things, work/momming. And we're not excelling at both to the level we're expecting ourselves to. Even though, let's be real, both are hard, right? Succeeding and excelling and doing amazing at work, a lot of us can do it, but that's not easy. It's not easy, right? Same with momming. There's a lot of great moms out there, and it's not easy. Both tasks are incredibly difficult, and yet, for the most part, especially females, we have such high standards for ourselves, or at least females that your personality type, if you followed me for a while, you love this podcast, you're like, this girl and I just jive. You get exactly what I'm saying, right? That personality type that many of us have is just like, I'm not doing well enough. And I'm not dumb. Personally, myself, right? I know I'm not failing. There's been plenty of times where, honest moment, right? I've had breakdowns where I'm like in tears, sobbing to my husband, and it comes out and I'm like, I am just failing at everything. And in my gut, I know I'm not. I know I'm not failing, But it's, like I said, that inner critic, that little B word. She is, oh my goodness, her attitude is just strong. I don't know. I think maybe she got stuck at like 16-year-old Jenna and didn't develop further. Because, Jenna at 16, you want to talk an attitude. But the thing is, it's that personality type of I see the gaps where I'm not achieving what I want to achieve. And it eats at me as a person. I'm not focusing on the fact of, take it today, for example. I'm not focusing on the fact that, holy cow, I taught my kid how to, play hopscotch the right way, where you throw the stone down and you hop over that square. Not focusing on the fact that we got her to swimming lessons. I gave her a bath today. We were able to practice her balance bike. We were able to play t-ball. We were able to play, she's playing drink stand, lemonade stand, essentially. We were able to play that. she ate, she's alive, she got her nap time. I was able to get, several tasks done today. I was able to clean out all my inboxes, which, for some of us, that's a feat in itself. Cleaning out our email inboxes, right? That's like clap worthy. But there was a moment right before nap that I sat there and I was like, gosh, I just didn't play enough with her. And it's like, what? Yes, I did. I played with her a lot. It's just, there were moments that I was like, no, sweetie, mommy doesn't want to play that, or just give mommy 5 minutes. But I still played with her a lot. But we see those gaps, and that little inner critic grabs at it, and she goes wild, right? So the biggest thing I want you to just grasp from this, talking about the emotions, that love, hate. We need to normalize the spectrum of emotions that we are going to feel as we are trying to live out this life of, I'm a stay-at-home mom, but yet you're still bringing a paycheck of some kind. Whether, like I said, it's multi-level marketing and you're trying to run your own little business with that, or maybe you're doing some part-time contract work, maybe you're running your own business. There's lots of things that we now have the bandwidth to do because of technology. Maybe you are more old school and you're going and you're working an actual job outside the home a few hours a week. But just validating the fact that you are going to feel a lot of different emotions trying to balance all of that. Number one, you need to validate it with yourself that, I'm going to feel like this. I'm not going to feel, peachy keen all of the time. We're going to have moments where we feel completely in love with the fact that I get to work a little bit, or you know what, I get to be with my kids. And then there's going to be those moments where you feel like, do I have a single regular colored hair on my head, or are they all gray by this point? And you're going to feel everything in between. So as promised, also diving into, I did spend some time doing some research on this because, like I said, this wasn't necessarily the norm, right? I think big reason being technology. There wasn't a lot of remote work. There wasn't a lot of technology options that people could do at home. There wasn't as many multi-level marketing opportunities for people to dive into. And truth be told, there just wasn't as many stay-at-home moms, period, either. There were more kids in daycare and moms doing I'm just going to work a regular 9 to 5. And I think number one, right, just like everybody always says when it comes to parenting, we need to give ourselves permission to do what works for our families, okay? If you are working a 9 to 5 and you're like, well, crap, am I supposed to stay at home mom and work a little bit on the side? I'm not going to tell you either way. You need to talk to God and figure out what's right for you and your family, okay? But I can tell you this. As of this year, 2023, according to, the good old internet, I checked multiple sources to make sure my numbers were pretty steady across the base, because let's face it, right? If you've seen that commercial, where'd you hear that? Oh, the internet. But as of 2023, roughly 1/4 of all American moms are identifying as a stay-at-home mom. 25%, give or take. I saw, a couple fluctuations like, 26, 24. Let's combine those, right? Let's average them out. 1/4 of all American moms are saying, I'm a stay-at-home mom right now. And since 2019, so right before the pandemic hit, that is a 60% increase. Because of the pandemic, and that was actually just going from 2019 to 2021. And the numbers have actually increased since then. So we might actually be roughly a little bit higher than 60%. But 60% increase from 2019, pandemic hit, 2021. 60% increase. And it's no wonder. I think a lot of us know exactly why. Whether it be, the mom flipped to a remote job and now Well, I'm just going to stay home with the kids and do my job. Okay, cool. It worked out. Or a lot of moms just left their industry. A lot of daycares got shut down due to restrictions and lockdowns and things of that sort. So moms just made the decision to pull them and wound up, just deciding, actually, I really like this. I'm going to stay at home with my children. The reasons are, many. There's many reasons. One reason, especially here in Minnesota, that a lot of moms, and I've talked to a lot of moms, and this is 1000% the reason, money. Paying for care for our kids is not cheap. Minnesota is actually the 4th most expensive state in the whole country for daycare. 4th. I can't remember the other states above us. I think it was like New York was one of them, potentially California. But number 4 on the list, paying for daycare for your kids, we are 4th most expensive. What it equates to is roughly 22% of your income as a family is going to daycare. I was like, oh my goodness. And it's true. I mean, we were blessed that when I was working in 9 to 5, I was in, corporate health coaching at that time. And I did make a really decent income. So paying for a nanny, we were like, all right, let's do it. Let's, hire a nanny. And I can tell you, oh my goodness, we got blessed and we wound up actually being able to hire a family member. Thanks to COVID, she was in college and COVID hit and she wound up being home. She was off at college and then everything shut down. She came home and she was like, well, all my classes switched to online now. And we were able to work it out so that we had a nanny here instead that was a family member who wasn't charging us as much as the market nannies were, because when it did come time to, all right, maybe we just want to hire a regular nanny, I was blown away. Like I said, I used to nanny. The nannies that we were interviewing were asking for, the cheapest one was asking me for $20 an hour for one kid. And I just remember thinking, oh my gracious. And it's not that my child isn't worth that at all. Because at one point we did wind up hiring one, and 2 days before, I felt kind of shitty because, like I said, I was a nanny. 2 days before, that same family member was like, actually, I kind of want my job back. I'm coming back. And I was like, kind of like, oh, thank the Lord. We're able to save a lot of money. She's able to be with a family member. But I can't lie. I felt bad for that nanny that we had to let no, unfortunately, we weren't going to be bringing her on. But, I mean, there were some girls that were like, oh, I'm requesting $26 an hour. And I remember asking one, $26 an hour, that seems pretty hefty for one child. Well, I have a teacher's degree. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's not what I'm requesting. I'm requesting a nanny for my 1-year-old, right? Daycare is through the roof. And for many moms, I mean, I've had this conversation with so many moms, it's unreal. They're like, it's either I work and essentially my whole paycheck is going to the daycare or to the nanny, or I just stay home with my kid and I make a little less income, right? Because then they're trying to do that balancing act of working a little bit and then watching your kids during the day or kid during the day as well. And one side note that just popped into my head as I'm sitting here, so when I got hired on at my last corporate health coaching job, I actually got offered 2 separate positions at 2 separate companies. And I kind of weighed out my options and we wound up going with the option that I was making more income, but I was going to need daycare. Because how it works. So one of the options was a health coaching company that said, oh yeah, you can, your kids can be around. We don't require that you have daycare. They can, be playing in the background or things of that sort. Honestly, because though I was a digital coach in the aspect of everything I was doing with clients was typed. I was never going to be on phone calls. I was never going to be on video chats. So I understood why, right? Why I could have a kid there. And then the second one was like, no, you're going to need daycare because you're going to be on phones phone calls with clients. You are going to be in meetings with, teammates, things of that sort. And because as a health coach, you follow HIPAA, right? Or as a board certified health coach, rather, you follow HIPAA practices. I couldn't have anybody around me, including my children, so I would need daycare. Made sense. And the first option literally paid half of what the second option paid. So it all made sense to me. I wound up going with the second option, honestly, because it was just a better fit for me as well. And I can't deny the income was nice. It was nice to be able to have daycare doing a full 9 to 5. But yeah, there are now jobs out there offering, oh yeah, we get daycare is really expensive. You can keep your kids home with you and, do both things. So, and like I was saying earlier, there's other options too, not only just, employers being more understanding. And I think, and that job I got hired for actually was, I'm not kidding, 3 weeks before the pandemic hit. So I was blown away because that wasn't something that was really, typical. And then the pandemic hit, and a lot of employers now are actually a lot more understanding, partially because they were forced to be. It was basically like, okay, well, our daycare closed down, or our kids' schools closed down. My kid is going to be home. Either I work and they're here, or I don't work and I'm with them, right? A lot of parents were forced into that, employers being forced right alongside with them. Some of them have kept the policy that it's okay. Some of them not, right? But some of them have. I remember with my job, because I did take the job where we couldn't have kids around, and then the pandemic hit 3 weeks later, and we really had to try as a company to try to figure that out because, like I said, we did follow HIPAA. So there are some jobs that you're like, okay, we can't really have kids around. Like, it's not possible. It's not legal. So, but there were some employers since then that were like, no, it's okay. They can be there. You have proven that you can make it work. Doesn't mean it's easy, but you've proven that you can make it work. Some other flexible ones are, the multi-level marketing. A lot of moms have figured that out. Hey, I can make an income with it. Some moms can make a hell of a good income with those options. And I can do it all the while my kids are here, right? All right. So we've talked about it, right? All the feels, why you're doing it. What do you do so you don't feel like, oh my goodness, I'm going to rip my hair out? One day I'm feeling like I'm on top of the world. I'm riding cloud 9. I'm making all the things work. The balancing act is going well. And then there's other days you're like, okay, all the balls are all over the floor. I've dropped them all. I'm not juggling anything anymore. And I just want to sit in the corner and cry. Okay, what can we do? What can we do to hopefully balance it a little bit better? We might drop a few balls still, but hopefully let's, juggle a couple. Let's not drop them all simultaneously, right? So I think the first thing you need to make sure you're doing, and this goes for almost any struggle, right? You need to essentially cultivate your support group, your supportive network, whether it's your mom tribe or whatever you want to call it. But this one is going to be a little more niched, a little more customized to understanding what you're going through. People that truly will understand the highs and the lows for what they are versus just kind of seeing them from the outside and watching you struggle and be like, oh yeah, girl, I totally get it. And they're like a stay-at-home mom and they've never worked a day in their life. And no shame in that, not shaming them, but they aren't going to understand what the hell you're feeling, right? So you need to find these people that are truly understanding exactly what you're going through. If you're working at a regular job trying to navigate this, maybe there's other moms that you're working with that will get what you're feeling, right? Maybe there's other moms at church or other moms at your kid's school, or just finding those other moms that truly are understanding what you're experiencing. Because the point is, we do not want to struggle in silence. That's when things can get really hairy and scary. I have my husband. I'm blessed in the aspect of him and I both try to kind of parent during the day a little bit. It's essentially like a balancing act as a whole family that we're trying to navigate. So it is kind of nice that he completely actually understands what I'm going through. I get not all families have that, right? But then find someone that you can connect with. If you cannot find anyone like you that is like doing this weird new balancing act of, oh yeah, I work. Oh yeah, I'm a stay-at-home mom, right? Find a counselor. Find a trusted professional, whether it's a coach, a counselor, a psychiatrist, whatever fancy name they have. But find someone so that you are not struggling in silence. Because friends, I think we all know when we struggle in silence, that is when things typically go bad, right? All right. The second tip I have for you is you need to make sure you are celebrating the crap out of every victory you have, no matter how small it seems. You know, maybe you crushed a really cool work project today. Even if it was just a quick email that you sent off and you're like, dang, I wrote that so well. Or, you know, dude, I taught my kid how to play hopscotch today with rocks, and she actually like learned it and understood it, and we played together for like 15 minutes. And for a 3-year-old, that's a victory, right? So you need to celebrate every single victory, no matter how big, how small. Also making sure that you're finding gratitude in everyday moments. And this could be in whatever practice or routine you figure out is going to work for you. Maybe you're the type that you know, how you pray, you kind of do your gratitude moments right in your prayer in the morning or in the evening. Or maybe you have a gratitude journal. Maybe you just sit down and like as a practice at the end of your day or the start of your day, you like think of like 10 things you're grateful for. Some way, shape, or form. And this one, like, I'm going to just say, like, this isn't a recommendation. This is just go do it. Like, just Nike this, right? Just do it. Figure out a way to have a gratitude practice plugged into your routine every single day. Okay? Some things, like I said, you know, whether it's you're celebrating a victory or you're thinking of what you're grateful for, these are the things like you do not want to be skipping over. So you did something good at work. Your kid achieved a new milestone, especially if it's something you helped them with, you encouraged, you taught them, right? You have a fun day, and at the end of the day, you remember it because you were there. You were present. That is something to celebrate and be grateful for. The fact that, dude, I was present for today, for that experience, for that moment my kid had, for that moment we had together. I was present for that really cool thing that happened, you know, at my work. Even if it was virtually present, but you were also able to be present mentally for whatever you're thinking of, right? It is kind of cool that we essentially can also say we get the best of both worlds. We get a little bit of work, we get a little bit of momming, and we get to be present physically and mentally for both. A lot of times in history, people didn't get that option. Either they went to work or they were with their kids. End of the day, let's look at the gratitude side of it as, dude, I get to do both. That's kind of cool. And if we're looking at silver linings, essentially, right, I can have the best of both worlds. Right? Yeah, we can flip it. I get the worst of both worlds. Okay. Yeah, you can live that way. You can think that way. There's days I think that way. But let's flip it. If we want to try to do this and succeed, I get the best of both worlds. And celebrate that. And be grateful for that. Another thing, right? You get to be the one to teach your kids and raise them up the way you want. Teaching them the things you want to teach them, installing the values and the morals that you want installed in them. You're not passing that off. And not that parents who choose a 9 to 5 are doing anything necessarily wrong. But you've made that choice of, I want to do it. And you took that responsibility on, even knowing, yeah, I'm still going to do some work as well. But now you get that cool benefit of, I am raising my children. God gifted them, and now I get to, essentially train them up the way I feel best in direction with His path for them and for myself. All right, my next tip. So creating self-care rituals and essentially setting boundaries to kind of preserve your mental health and your well-being, right? So you want to create whatever self-care routines. And I always hesitate. Like I said that one almost like kind of slow. Like I'm like, it is like you do need self-care routines. But even as a health coach, like I can say right now, I'm so annoyed with how self-care has almost became a buzz term right now. But we do need it, okay? Buzz term or not, we do need self-care. And we need to create a routine around it. We need to have the rituals installed with it so we can't essentially just let it fly to the wayside because, I got work things to do or I got momming things to do. We need to have rituals with it. Which essentially a lot of times does come down to we have to have boundaries in place so that our self-care cannot go to the wayside. Okay? Because we need to know, yes, work is important. My children are crazy important. But so am I. Right? God didn't create you just to come and be a hot mess all of the time. I mean, I don't know. Maybe He did. Only He knows His paths, right? But my guess is He didn't create you to come here and be a complete disaster all of the time, feeling completely, depleted. So you need to come up with those routines, whether it's, some more on the holistic side of things where I eat right, I get my exercise in, or you know what? Once a week, I have to give myself an hour where I go hang out with my girlfriends. Whatever those look like. I can tell you for me personally, like my things are, I go get my nails done consistently. I get my hair done. I work out at least 5 times a week. At least. Like I need that. That's one of my rituals. I try to eat as well as I can because I can tell you when I do eat crappy, it does take a hit. My emotional and my mental health does take a hit, which impacts everything. I try to give myself childless times. And I'll even go as far as like saying familyless and workless times. Like I know that about myself. I'm really trying to lean into that. I have known that. I've been trying to deny that. But I said recently on a podcast, right? 4th of July weekend, by the end of the weekend, I was just kind of a B word. And I didn't know why. I knew why. I had no just Jenna time, me alone time. And I need that. Whether it be, I just go pray, I go on a walk by myself, I, do a task where I can throw my AirPods in and listen to something that I like, whether it's music or a podcast. One lately that I've really been trying to lean into too is naps. Yeah, Mama's tired, okay? I have a lot of tasks going on. I'm trying to, manage a 3-year-old that's like, I swear, like 10 monkeys by herself. So I need naps. And I'm trying to give myself grace with, I'm going to go take a 30-minute nap because my husband's here. The girls are okay. Work is either done or it can wait a little bit, but I need to go take a nap and give myself what I truly need to be a better me. Okay? So like I said, that one, and I know I'm a health coach. Self-care, it needs to happen. But we also need to be cautious not to get caught up in the fact that right now it's a buzz term, and let's just say it as it is. We live in a very selfish society, and right now people are being like, I need self-care. And you look at them and you're like, really? You just took like 3 hours at the spa yesterday and you need self-care again today? So that is why I was a little hesitant in saying that one. But my fourth tip for you is doing your best to embrace the fact that we are not going to be perfect, right? If we go the faith route, right? Only Jesus was perfect. But let's be real. Anyone with a personality type like mine, type A, you just like things in order. You like to do your best all of the time. You like to check your boxes. Your to-do lists are complete. You like to be as perfect as you can. And we need to be okay with the fact that we need to let some things go. Otherwise, we are adding a whole lot more pressure than need be. Because we already talked about, there's enough pressure out there. Why are we adding more? No one's going to be a perfect mom. No one's going to be a perfect employee. And we need to be okay with the fact that I am trying hard. My kids have a pretty present mom. I'm doing pretty stellar work on my job. Not A++, but pretty decent. B+, A- type of work. It's okay. We need to just look at the fact that I am trying. And especially right now. For the most part, this is a really new realm. I'm trying to work, and yeah, I do consider myself, I'm a stay-at-home mom. It's a new thing. Give yourself some grace. So, as we kind of wrap this up, right? As a stay-at-home mom that has some additional responsibilities that a lot of moms didn't have in the past, this journey, I think, that we're all on, we've seen it. There's going to be moments that you're like, that's awesome. Talk about pure joy watching our kid do that or experience that. Or, wow, I got to watch my kid do that an hour ago, and now I just did this really cool thing for work, and I feel really accomplished. Cool joys. But there's also going to be moments where frustration levels are maxed. We need to remember, though, that we're not alone. This is an experience that a lot more moms and a lot more dads, to be honest, right? We're always talking to the moms on here, but let's be real. This is something dads are experiencing right now, too. And we're going to have moments where it's like the emotions about it all conflict. Getting back to those tips, right? You need to seek support. You need to find some balance navigating that love-hate relationship. Give yourself grace. Embrace that self-care, as much as that's not my favorite term right now, but embrace that self-care. And make sure that you let go of the fact that I'm doing my best, but I'm not going to be perfect. Tell yourself, be grateful, be, thankful, celebrate those wins. I am doing an incredible job. And we're here on this podcast, right, to remind you that what you're doing is pretty rock star. This is something completely new for the most part, and we need to be proud of the fact that we are doing this. A lot of us moms getting back to, I am stay-at-home momming. But I'm also trying to work and bring some income in for my family. And also still have that piece of my own identity as well. So, bonus tip right at the end here, keep praying. Keep praying hard. Have Jesus come into you. Jesus, please help me today. Every single day, you put on that armor of God. And remember, one day at a time, that is all we can tackle. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. If today's episode was one that you're like, I needed that message, well, rewind it and listen again. Or also make sure you are sending it off to another mom that needs to hear this message as well. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Ramblings of an Addict with Jenna Dix. Remember, if you are battling an addiction, reach out for help and support. There are many resources available to assist in your journey towards recovery. Surround yourself with a supportive community and never give up on the path towards a healthier and happier life. I appreciate you taking the time to listen and joining me on this journey. As you heard, I'm always rambling. But seriously, thank you for your support and make sure to subscribe and follow my channel. I can't wait to share more with you on the next episode. Until then, keep on rambling. If you have found this podcast helpful and want to dive deeper into personal growth and self-improvement, be sure to head over to my website, jennadix.com. You'll find a wealth of resources there. There is a little less drugs, sex, and rock and roll these days, but whether you're interested in getting healthy, information on momming or parenting, or politics, jennadix.com has something for everyone. So, what are you waiting for? Head to jennadix.com today and start your journey towards personal growth and self-awareness. See you there.